And okay, good. Just start the recording for those who aren't able to join us live, and for those of you that want to go back and watch us again. This is, without a doubt, the most important session. We were hoping to get this training done in 3 weeks, but it's going to take 4 to do it right, and we'd always rather do it right than try to rush it. And so this week, we're going to be covering takeaway selling and the preliminary interview. And I promise you, in my vast experience working with Mike and working with students that have taken this in the past, this session right here is by far the difference between those that really succeed and those that don't. Now, I do want to just say a couple words to those of you that are behind and you haven't even got your profile set up and approved, or I shouldn't say approved, but you know what I mean. Run it by Mike Mucci and make sure it's got the elements that we want for a magnetic profile. You know, some of you are still way back there in session 1, and I just got to tell you, it's just straight up, you know, you're not going to succeed in this if you don't put in the effort. You know, it's not a magic formula. This is something where you've got to go through the work. It's only an hour, 45 minutes a day, an hour, 2 at the very most, and that's really stretching it. But you've got to go through the basics. And so tonight is, without a doubt, the best session. They all are important, but tonight is what separates those that are having success and those that just are not having success. And I don't know how to put that more clearly. I do want to reward and congratulate all of you that are keeping up with your homework and getting the job done. You got your profile set up, and it's looking good. It's magnetic. You've joined groups, you're making connections, and I've talked to quite a few of you that that's the case, so I want to be sure and congratulate you, but I just want to tell those of you that are letting yourselves get behind, you know, don't just think, oh, I'll catch up later. Get on this and get after it. This is the lifeblood of your business. Every day I'm talking to 4 or 5 great prospects from people on my team that have used the LinkedIn to get these leads. They flat out work. So Mike Mucci, without any further ado, I think people are getting to know you a little bit now. They know you really do care about their success. We can't do it for them, and we're not going to beat up anybody. We're just trying to encourage you to get after it and give yourself a chance to succeed, because this training absolutely works. And tonight's session is the most important of all. So, Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend, and I'll be taking notes, and I'll be here if you need me for anything.
Thanks, Chuck. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Okay, very good. Good evening, everybody, and I'm really glad to be here tonight. And I just wanted to, before we start lesson 3 tonight, which is about posturing, the preliminary interview, and importing lists, I just want to reiterate what Chuck said. The training works. And what we do in this training is fully transferable to other businesses as well. So it not only works in the Sherlock business, it's working in other businesses. I use it on a daily basis. And one of the things we talked about in the beginning is you have to be willing to create a new habit. And that's that 45 minutes a day when you're going to be able to put all these parts and pieces together. And when you do that, you're going to get yourself in a position where you really want to be for your business. So I encourage you to revisit that part and you know, find that commitment within yourself to do this, because all the folks that you need to grow your business are on LinkedIn. And it's the greatest marketing tool for lead generation that I've seen come down the pike ever. And what we're applying here is your effort and some really proven lead generation strategies. Some of them are old school. They're just delivered on another platform. So with that said, you know, please review, you know, your commitment to yourself, and it will pay really great dividends for you. And you're going to feel very proud about your accomplishments. So I want to encourage you to do that tonight, okay? Very good. Again, for those of you that need some extra help, I've had folks reach out to me this week. We've established one-on-one time periods that we're going to meet here over the next 2 or 3 days. So don't hesitate if you think you need some help. that's part of this training to help you. So you can reach out to me via my email, which you'll find at the bottom of these notes when we pass those out tomorrow. So let's get on to lesson 3. Posturing, preliminary interview, and importing lists. Greetings, Shopping Sherlock entrepreneur CEOs. Hey, that's a special compliment to you tonight because you are CEOs of your own business. So feel proud of that. That you're people that take action. You want to succeed. So we tip our hat to you. Special thanks to Chuck for making this program available. Chuck uses it. He has great vision for where his business is going. And that's one of the many reasons here that he's making this available to you. So, and again, thank you all for allowing me to work with you. I really appreciate that. A little bit of motivation here tonight. Genius is 1% and 99% perspiration. So we appreciate your efforts in this training series all the way. 45 minutes a day. It's not quite a workout, but some may call it perspiration. Find a way to do that for yourself. And I just want to tell you a real quick story about that. What separates the really good people from those that are average. And this is a story about they were interviewing a talent agent in Hollywood, and they asked them, what separates the top people in the entertainment industry versus just the also-rans. And he had to think about it quite a bit because he represented Michael Jackson and among other people of that kind of stature. And I'm not saying that Michael Jackson was the greatest thing on earth, but he was at the top of his game for quite a while. And he said this: the people that really excel, if they commit to going to a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning for their business, for their career, they're there at 8 o'clock. But also, if they make a commitment to themselves, maybe to, work out 1 hour a day, they do it without failure. So that means this: they take care of themselves first. And many of us forget that. If we don't take care of ourselves first, we have a really difficult time excelling and getting to where we want to get so we can help all those around us as well to the best of our ability. So that might be another way to look at it. Commit to yourself first, that 45 minutes, 5 days a week, and you will be surprised where your business goes here. You'll be surprised. And you can make it fun, too, as well. So let's get started. What is posturing and takeaway selling? We prepped you a little bit for this last week when we sent out the takeaway selling report. And as Chuck mentioned, it's very, very important. It's a mindset. So I just want to touch on a few of the things that I think that are important here. And is takeaway selling and posturing, is it scarcity? Is it urgency? Reactive, proactive? I believe it's proactive. And I think many of us in business tend to be reactive at times, especially when we're waiting for a webinar, we're waiting for somebody else to motivate us. So think about being proactive from a standpoint that you have something very special in the Shopping Sherlock. And that's the mindset that we want you to develop. So in many ways, takeaway selling contradicts classic wisdom about selling or offering people positions. One of the most important principles behind takeaway selling is the law of supply and demand and how it affects people's desires. Again, when you were brought into this program, there's a reason that we had you sign up and go through a preliminary interview. It's part of the training. We wanted you to experience it. And many of you remember us talking, what piqued your interest about this training? What are your goals? Why haven't you reached your goals? It's a screen and qualifying process, not a selling process. Screen and qualify. Find the people that you feel are going to do the best in your business. You'll find that you're going to get results happen quicker and they're going to last a lot longer. So, as a rule of thumb, the less accessible something is, the greater the value that gets placed on it, and more people want it. And we've all experienced it. When you watch the infomercials on television, you experience that all the time, especially the ones that go for a half an hour. And, they're done by some of the greatest marketing people in the country. Guthrie Rinker for Cindy Crawford. One lady that I admire very much is a lady on QVC. I don't know how many of you ladies have watched Lisa Robertson. She uses a lot of these strategies. She's great. She's a terrific host. She moves a lot of product. She can make anything sizzle, but she also can take it away from you. We only have so many sizes in black left, so many in this. And notice how that happens. It makes people react. It's scarcity. It's urgency. That's what your business is about too when you work with qualified prospects that you're going to develop here on LinkedIn. When you can take that report, the takeaway selling report, and if I were you, I would pin it right up next to my computer and I would read it once a week until it becomes ingrained that you develop that feel, that like-mindedness, that you have something special. So that's a big part of our training here tonight. So whether you use takeaway selling or not as a fundamental choice, and how you are going to go through your career, what kind of experience is going to be for you and for your customer or clients, remember, takeaway selling is a win-win. It's not a switch and bait. It is a win-win. It's a screen and qualify process, not a pitch. Screen and qualify. Give first, receive later. Give first, receive later. So clients feel good about being privileged. Just like all of you were selected to come into this group. You were endorsed by Chuck. Being special, being in an elite group. And if they get that feeling by doing business with you, then you are providing significant added value. This might seem a little different to you only because you've never heard it before. But you experience it all the time as a consumer. So you got to think about switching it around a little bit and you being on the other side. You will have more energy, enthusiasm, bring more creativity to your clients' needs, and derive greater satisfaction from your daily experience if you're dealing with people who, feel the privilege of dealing with you. They got to feel like they're privileged. And when you're able to do that, you're using your time of greater value. When you can, if you stop and think about this for a minute, whenever you try to chase a prospect, it hardly ever works. They hardly ever make it long term with you. But in the process where you have this professionalism, like we're describing here with takeaway selling, you're developing some real credibility with that person. And it's quality versus quantity. Because each time you work on bringing a new distributor into your business, remember, we want them to sustain and prosper, because that's the bridge for you to get your passive and residual income up, stabilized, and continuing to move forward and scaling high. So that's why this is important. And every time you bring a new distributor in, if you think about the time, the effort, and the resources that you have to use to bring somebody in, there's always a cost, a real cost associated with distributor acquisition. And it can go in 100 different directions if you let that candidate go down the paths that they want. You have to be able to set a path and have it be proactive in your favor, where they're going to respond to what you want to do. Now, it's not that hard to do, because it's all about listening more and talking less. That's right. It's about listening more and talking less. And we're going to get into that in a minute. And many of you who have some really good professional background here are going to, are really going to, this is really going to resonate with you, because we've all heard it before. But it really is something that you need to adopt as far as being a successful distributor here. So your Shopping Sherlock LinkedIn direct response lead system that you have here will sift and sort. It'll screen and qualify targeted qualified leads. You can investigate in advance, and you can be in control of. And it serves you as a proactive tool. So before I jump to the next page, takeaway selling is a mindset. If you read the report about the lady dog groomer, Dan Kennedy told her, okay, you're having all these problems, here's what I want you to do. Dress better. I want you to give the dog an IQ test. I want you to triple your fees, and I don't want you to answer the phone. You all read it. You all read it. And I think that was written 10 or 15 years ago, and that lady adopted his strategies. She did over $100,000 worth of business. Why? Think about it. And also, Gary Halbert, he's passed away since then, but look how he attracted clients. Look at the lady that did the real estate work. She made everybody go through hoops. She controlled the process. And if they didn't want to do business with her at the end, she didn't care. She wanted a certain kind of client. You want a really good distributor that's going to work with you. You've got a competitive edge now. When you get done with these sessions, you're going to have something that very few people in any kind of a selling industry has. You're going to have a system to find people, qualify, screen and qualify, sift and sort beyond your warm market. And we all know one of the reasons people fade away or they go off to the next shiny object is they think it doesn't work because they really don't know what to do after they go through their warm market. We think the warm market is good. And by the way, Chuck will, when we bring Chuck back in here today, he will tell you these same strategies work for your warm market too. You can screen and qualify. You can screen and qualify friends and family. Very easy, and you do it by leading with questions. And that's going to bring us to our next segment here in Lesson 3. But before we get there, I want to bounce back to Chuck. Chuck, anything you'd like to add about the takeaway selling before we go on to the next part?
I was going to share what you just shared just right then, is that I use these preliminary questions on all of my prospects, not just the prospects I generate through the LinkedIn lead generation system. And it's really changed my business. When I'm doing this, I used to just find somebody who's interested in making money, and man, I was right there showing the presentation, showing the videos, getting them on webinars. And I have found that if I'll slow down and do that preliminary interview right, once they've shown interest, I simply ask them 3 questions. Why are you interested in making money on the internet? Listen, write down notes. What are your goals? Listen, write down notes. What's kept you from achieving those goals so far? And I listen and take down notes. They've just given me their why. And they've given me any possible objections, fears, concerns. And now it's a simple movement. And Mike's going to cover this, but it's just simple when you're just saying, I may, again, it's that takeaway selling. I don't get all excited. I've got the best thing since sliced bread. No, it's I may have a solution to help you achieve X, Y, Z. And X, Y, Z is what they told me their why is. And so I'm telling you, I use this all the time now, and it has literally changed my business. And I've watched people that have never had success in this or any other business have success, and this training that Mike's doing right now is the real key. So, Mike, I'm very excited. Keep going, buddy.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. The next part is the preliminary interview, and can your candidate qualify? Question mark. Remember, you're a home-based business. You're in control. You're looking for a certain person to work with you. Now, let's go back to supply and demand. You're doing the LinkedIn strategies on a monthly basis. You get 10, 12 people raising their hand to you on a monthly basis asking you they want to know more. So think about this for a minute. If you just got 1 or 2 of those people every month you got 1 or 2, the 1 or 2 people you want to work with, and then you help them do the exact same thing that you just did. I don't know what that comes out to over a year when multiplicity takes over, but I do know this. It's pretty significant. It's a pretty significant number for your passive and residual income, and it's really easy to manage because your people will all be doing the same thing you do. So let's go back to how do they earn getting the final interview process to work with you and your team? Okay? Think about this for a minute. This is how this all ties together. You're busy. You can only work with 1 or 2 candidates per every 30 to 60 days and have lots of candidates raising their hands, supply and demand to choose from. Just like you were selected, there were 85 people that raised their hand for this training. We selected, I think, 22. Your partners in your Shopping Sherlock team sustain and prosper, as well as their consultants, as well as their distributors. So you just keep repeating the process. So the big secret here to your success is in the preliminary interview. And just like Chuck said, and some of you know who Tom Hopkins is. And what a good sales professional does is they ask questions and listen. And we try to make it simple and easy for you to execute. Again, old school selling brought into a different platform. That's all it is. So when we get somebody to raise their hand, first of all, you got to act like you don't care if they make the cut or not. That's the mindset, because you have others to choose from. Somebody's going to make the cut. Feel good about that. Somebody's going to bring you to other good people. Good people bring you to good people most of the time. So, again, this is about posturing and implementing the takeaway strategy and then doing a preliminary interview with the candidate. And once you master this, you can easily, as I said earlier, duplicate and scale your business. And one of the things, again, you have a significant competitive edge in your business category, because I'll guarantee you people that want to start home-based businesses, most of them flush out in 60 days in other companies. And if you can help people sustain and prosper, wow, just think what you did. And it's happening. This is not theory. We have people doing this. We have people actually doing this in the network marketing industry right now. You're going to be next. So, here, how does the preliminary interview work once a LinkedIn connection raises their hand? And you're going to learn how all this happens next week in response to the marketing strategy that you're putting out there. You're going to learn and execute that in lesson 4. You know, they will ask you for more information, or they're going to make a recommendation or referral to you. They're going to raise their hand and ask you, hey, Chuck, I want more information, or I know somebody that would be really good for this. And we all know when we get referrals in any kind of selling business, it just changes the whole environment of the process. So that's what this is going to do for you. So again, and Chuck and I have talked this over. You know, going beyond the 4 weeks of training, and we're going to do a little role play tonight. But going beyond the 4 weeks of training, we're going to have what we call a continuous education session every Wednesday for everybody that comes out of these classes. And we're really going to emphasize and help people get really good in what we call the transition piece from when somebody raises their hand, how to get a hold of them, how to posture, how to have that takeaway selling mentality, and actually do a preliminary interview. And here's the great thing about this. All you have to do is facilitate and direct people through the process. You don't have to do any selling. All you got to be able to do is ask questions, listen, and write down notes and be able to tell somebody at the end of the preliminary interview this. We anticipate talking to 10 or 12 people this month. You just went through a preliminary interview with me, and I really believe that I want to recommend you to the person that I work with in St. Louis about another interview, a second interview per se. And that's where you bring Chuck in, and that's where the tools are going to come in that the Shopping Sherlock has created for us. So we're not eliminating anything the Shopping Sherlock has, any tools, any videos. We're not doing anything like that. We're just prepping you ahead of all those things so you're in control. You're taking, you have the proactive situation working for you. They got to be selected by you to be in your business. They don't pick you. So that's where we're going with this. And it's exciting. Once you learn how to do this, you're going to find it. So you're going to just, you're going to be ecstatic and be happy knowing you're in control. Your business is going to be fun. You're going to stay with it. You're going to reach your dreams and your goals for your financial success too. So that's what this training is all about. That's what this is all about. So again, Chuck hit on the 3 questions. I'm going to read them over to you right now. But this is basically how the preliminary interview goes. It's, tell me why you responded to my request. And you don't know what the request is yet. But when you see it, we found a great way to use lead generation in the fact that we're not pitching anybody anything. We're not pitching, and you're going to see how that unfolds next week. So, and number 2, if they are a candidate and they're not providing you a referral, the next question in your preliminary interview is going to be, tell me what are your goals? And you're going to be taking notes. And, and then when you hear things from them, you're going to feed it back. So I understand, Chuck, you're saying that your goals are really to create a second income because you've got children going to school and your wife has been downsized at her company. Did I understand that? Okay. You kind of feed back what they say to you, and they're saying, yeah, that's right. Okay, then you kind of, the last thing you're going to say to them is, why do you feel you haven't achieved your goals yet? And then they're going to tell you everything why they haven't got there. Well, I don't have the time. And, my wife is out looking for a full-time job. We need benefits, this and that. But what I always hear most of the time is people don't do things for two reasons. Number one, they don't want to or they don't know how. And most of the time, when somebody responds to something, they're really seeking a way to be able to do something. And most of the time, people don't understand that there is a time commitment. But now you've got something, if you show it to them, they can work in 45 minutes a day, still have time for their family, grow their second income, maybe transition into full-time. So you got a system for them that shows them you don't have to lose your family time. You don't have to lose going to church one night in the evening. You don't have to lose going to your kids' soccer games or baseball games. You can fit all this in. We're going to show you how to do it and be successful. So that's what's different about this. You've got a system. You've got a competitive edge if you follow this system all the way through. So Chuck, back over to you. Anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, the one thing you mentioned is when you set up that second interview, you mentioned, myself in St. Louis. Many of the people in this training session are part of global, soon-to-be Diamond, Brandon Ivey's team. And obviously you would be setting up that second interview with Brandon. But that's really, it's so good that you're covering this in detail because this is where the rubber meets the road. And if you'll edify the success coach that's helping you and make that like the next round of interviews if you qualify. And that might sound so different than what you're used to using, but it works so well. And then you basically you've gone through the interview process this far. You've made it successfully. It looks like we might be able to work together. Now I want to introduce you to my success coach or your business partner. And you determine the wording that works for you. Those are the ones I like the best. But then it sets up your success coach, Brandon Ivey, myself, to where we can come back and then we can edify you. We can ask the same questions, and I really do. You ask anybody I do three-way calls with, why are you interested in making money on the internet? What are your goals? What's kept you from achieving those goals? Now, when they hear that a second time, because you did it in the preliminary interview, and now I, as your upline support person, I'm doing it, they're catching on here that we got a system, and you're following it. And that's the thing I'm edifying you, is that you're following the system. Hey, Mike, if you're my prospect, I'm going to be saying, Joel is really following our system. He's one of our well-trained distributors, affiliates. He's growing fast. He's going to have a successful business all over the world because he gets it. You are very fortunate to have been introduced to this by Joel or whoever it is that introduced you. But I cannot qualify you and edify you like that if you're not using the system. So it's really, really important that you follow this step by step. And then when you get to the point where you've gone through the preliminary interview, now I'll tell you, on the first one or two, and when we were just getting started with this, I used to actually do the preliminary interview for my people so they could see the flow and actually experience it. And I'll do that for you too. If you're on my team, I'll do that. Brandon, I know he'll do that for his team. We'll actually start at the preliminary interview for you. So you get somebody to raise your hand. You basically set the appointment for the preliminary interview. And I'll actually, if you're on my team, I'll do it. I'm sure Brandon will for you too. We'll actually do the preliminary interview for you just to show you how easy it is. Now here's the key. I'm going to cover a couple points here. When somebody raises their hand and says they're interested, normally what they're going to do is they're going to say, send me some information. This is where you have to take the takeaway selling approach. You're in control. They are trying to qualify to join your team. You do not just send them a link and have them watch a video and hope they catch it. They're not going to. You've got to sell yourself here. You've got to sell the system that you've got in place to help them succeed. And you're not going to be able to do that by having them watch a couple videos. And so it's very, very important at this point. And the people that are successful master this. Those that fail don't. It's as simple as setting up that interview process, the preliminary interview. And you can tell them it only takes 3 to 5 minutes. But the next step in our system is a preliminary interview. And if they come back to you and say, look, I'm not interested in talking about it, I just want you to send me some information, that's when you just take it away. And you say, well, that's not how our system works. I respect where you're coming from. Be glad to give you our free product, but I don't think this opportunity is going to work out for you. And now some of you might be just cringing, thinking, oh, I want somebody on my team so bad. I can't imagine doing that. I promise you, once you do that a couple times, they will change their tune, and they'll say, oh, okay, if that's the way we do it, let's do it your way. And they'll respect it because we have a system. So again, when somebody raises their hand, shows interest, don't get overly excited. Take it away. Insist upon a preliminary interview. Schedule that time. And then when you do the preliminary interview, have your success coach either do the first 1 or 2 for you if you need help, or have your success coach on standby knowing that you might need a 3-way call. Now, Mike, are we going to go through the transition from the preliminary call to the system today, or are we going to do that next week when we talk about the recommendation request?
We'll do that next week, Chuck, when we go through the...
All right, you got me excited tonight, brother. This is exciting stuff. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. And what I wanted to tell everybody out there, we got some real intelligent people here in this group. I've gotten a chance to get to know a few of you and worked with some in the past. I can tell you this, okay? Chuck and I didn't invent this. We massaged and tweaked different strategies. And, you know, the person that I studied for under about 15 years, you know, Dan Kennedy, I consider him one of the best, if not the best. But he wrote a book about 20 years ago. And the name of that book was, you know, Prospecting's Difficult. And how to bring professional, effective, direct response advertising and marketing to the network marketing business. Never cold call prospect again. So we took many of these strategies and just, as I said, we present them in a different platform. So it was a great collision between some of these strategies and LinkedIn. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not a genius. I just stumbled upon, I took the LinkedIn platform, learned a little bit from Lewis Howes. I talked to Lewis 3 or 4 times on the phone and just created these strategies, and just LinkedIn is the platform to deliver it. Where before they were delivered through card decks, it might have been delivered through a postcard, it might have been delivered through a 800 number newspaper ad, which we had great success doing, and Chuck will tell you. We had great success, but the only difference was most of the people responding to those newspaper ads, even though they were under business opportunities, were people without jobs. The candidates on LinkedIn are in the stratosphere compared to people reading newspapers. Just a different kind of prospect all along. So you're in a good place. You're in a really good place. All these great things have kind of come together. And LinkedIn is the only thing that I do for my shop in Sherlock, for my primary business, for anything that I do for anybody else. It's all LinkedIn because everybody's there. I don't think about Twitter. I don't think about Facebook because they're not the right environment for this. And you'll never, all the people, you know, well, I'm going to stumble over the same people. No, you won't. There's 160 million people in North America on LinkedIn. You're not going to stumble. That's just an excuse. You're not going to stumble. And by the way, this really comes down to who applies these strategies and who's got the great work ethic. Because this isn't theory, we've used it. So keep that in mind. It's really going to come down to you, but embrace it. Have fun with it. Know You're getting somewhere that you've never been before, that you always wondered how other people did it. Here you are. You're here. And you have myself and Chuck and Brandon and other folks that we're not, you know, after we get done with 4 training sessions, we don't disappear, not take your phone calls, not take your emails. We're here, as we said in the beginning, to get you results. So whatever it takes, we're going to help you get your results. Okay? That's the kind of people here that you're working with. And you know, we take great pride in that. So, okay. Let me move on to the final thing. We only got here about 4 minutes. I just wanted to give you a little bonus strategy about importing your list, any email list you have, if you have a Gmail account, and this will help you accelerate your LinkedIn connection strategy. And LinkedIn allows you to do this. Again, if you go to your LinkedIn page, right up at the top, you're going to see network. And that's in between your profile and jobs. Put your cursor over network and click on add connections. And then just follow the prompts. And what it'll do, it'll allow you, let's say if you have a Yahoo Mail account or a Gmail account, you'll click on that. And what LinkedIn does, it'll send an invite for you to all the people that you've had in your Gmail account, their email addresses, and invite them to connect with you on LinkedIn. You'll get maybe 10% of the people to respond, but that's still good, because the 10% of 1,000 is 100, and then those people bring their people to you. So it's a way of accelerating. You can also do that. If you're a college graduate or you went to any schools, you can do that under Find Alumni as well. So anybody you went to school with, you want to go back and, you know, reacquaint, connect with them on LinkedIn, it allows you to do that. So that's a little bonus strategy, okay? So here's, before I turn over Chuck for any final words, here's your assignment for next week. Review the takeaway selling special report. If you didn't get it, email me. It was sent out last week in a PDF. You'll want to review that. Get comfortable with the preliminary interview process. We're going to do some role playing next week. We're going to continue doing that role play. We don't expect you to get it listening to me here tonight. And I thank you for listening, for your attention span. I really do. That's the only way we can deliver this information, initially. Make certain your profile is complete. If not completed, email me. Set up an appointment. Let's get you up to speed. Commit to yourself. Commit, commit, commit. Make it a priority. It can change your success here at the Sherlock and your financial future. Make it a priority. That would be my recommendation. Make it a priority. Also, we have a question and answer session on Thursday evening at 8. Make sure that you can block off some time there. We'll go over any Q&A on this session. If I can get Chuck on the call, we may even do a little role playing on that call if we have time. Not promising, but we'll sure try to make that work. Also, too, when you review the notes here, I put a couple of Shopping Sherlock implied benefit irresistible offer examples you might want to look over and maybe make your own, change a few things around, give you some ideas. So it's 8:45 here, Chuck. Final words over to you, but thanks everybody for listening here tonight.